Hi guys, today we're going to read the book Clark the Shark, and we're going to be talking about genre. There's two main genres, which are fiction and nonfiction, but within those two genres there are others. When I look at Clark the Shark, the front cover, the first thing that stands out is, to me, I don't think Clark the Shark is a real book. I think it's fiction, and the reasons are, well, Clark the shark is dressed in clothing. Most animals don't dress in clothing that I know. I certainly don't know any sea animals that dress in clothing. My next clue is that Clark is sitting in a school desk. Well, I don't know any sea animals that sit in school desks either. So those are big clues to me that make me think that this book is fiction. Not only is it fiction, but it's fantasies. And you can see fantasies are stories with made-up events that could not really happen. As you read Clark the Shark, I want you to look for animal characters who talk and act like people, such as Clark the Shark. He is acting like a person in that he's dressing like people. They have him going to school. He's sitting in a desk, much like a real live student would do. The next thing I want you to think about is the beginning, the middle, and the end. Fiction stories have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And later on, we'll talk about those types of story elements. The next thing I want you to think about is how pictures and words help you understand what happens. It's really important not just to read the story, but to take time and look at the pictures. You can get a lot of information just by looking at the pictures. For example, when I see this, I look at this picture and Clark seems to be very happy. He's smiling. Clark is at school, I think, because he's sitting in a desk. I believe Clark is underwater because there's a bunch of like water bubbles coming around him, floating around him. So don't just read the words, but actually look at the picture. The next thing is we're wanting to set a purpose. Set a purpose for reading. Ask yourself questions before, during, and after reading. Good readers are readers who always ask questions. They want to ask those who, what, when, where, why type of questions. When you're reading, ask yourself questions before you even open the book. Look at the covers, the front and back, and ask yourself, what do I see on this book? What really catches my attention? Then while you're reading or during your reading, you want to stop and ask questions as you go along. And after you have read the book, then you want to also ask yourself questions. This is going to definitely help with understanding the text. Also looking at those pictures, looking for evidence in the text and the pictures to help you answer those questions. Our power words are going to be munch, bellowed, rough, handle, cool, bounce, grinned, might. These are our power words. These are words that we're going to come across as we read the story. Oops. Meet Bruce Hale. Listen to the audio to find out about the author of Clark the Shark. So if you want to find out about the author, which is the person who wrote the book, Clark the Shark, click on this button here, and you will be able to listen about Bruce Hale. Next, we're going to read the book Clark the Shark by Bruce Hale. It's illustrated by Guy Francis. When it says the word by, that means the author. That means who's written the book. Illustrated means who drew the pictures, who did the drawings. Up here, later on, if you want to, when you're in your HMH, if you want to have play the audio and it reads it for you, you can click on that and it'll read it for you. I'm going to go through and read the book for you as well. Clark the Shark. In the wide blue seas, in all the blue world, the top school for fish was Theodore Roosterfish Elementary. And of all the fish at Theodore Roosterfish, the biggest and the strongest was Clark the Shark. And there he is coming out of that school bus. That's odd because I would have thought they would have just swam to school. But nope, they have a school bus, and it's a very unique. Look at what their school bus is. Does anybody know what it's called? Yeah, a submarine. All right, Clark loved school, and he loved his teacher, Miss Inkydink. He loved to play upsy-downsy and spin-a-majig with his friends. Clark loved his life. Now, Clark looks very happy. Looking at his face, he looks really happy. The teacher looks excited. But look at his classmates. Look at their facial expressions. What can you learn about, or what do you think they may be feeling at the moment? And look at the swirls of water. Oh, my goodness. Do you think they're going slow, or do you think they're going fast? School is awesome, shouted Clark the Shark. Less shouting, more reading, said Miss Inkydink. She has her tentacle up to her mouth. What does that normally mean when somebody does that? Yeah, exactly. When they want you to kind of quiet down. Look on page 19. Lunchtime is sweet, yelled Clark the Shark. Munch your own lunch, said his best friend Joey Mackerel. So he told him to munch his own lunch. Munch and lunch rhyme. What do you think munch means? Well, by the look of the picture, and it has the word lunch in it, I think munch could mean eat, because he wants him to eat his own lunch. So Clark must be eating everyone's lunch, and that would explain why everyone has those facial expressions. Recess rocks, bellowed Clark the Shark. You're playing rough, Clark. Bellowed. Look at what that means. If you bellowed, you shouted in a loud, deep voice. Get away from there, she bellowed. Yes, Clark loved his life with all of his sharky heart, but he loved everything way too much. I mean, he was too loud, he was too wild, he was just too much shark for all the other fish to handle. After a while, no one would play with Clark. No one ate lunch with him. No one sat with him at circle time. Even his best friend, Joey Mackerel, said, "Cool your jets, Clark. You're making me crazy." Well, look at Clark's facials now. Oh, gosh, that must be his friend Joey Clark. He's throwing his hands up. I can just visualize and imagine him saying, "You're making me crazy." I don't think Clark is very happy. One day, Clark asked Miss Inkydink, "What's wrong with everyone?" Miss Inkydink patted his fin. "Clark, sometimes you play too rough. You munch too hard, and gosh, you even help too hard." "But life is so exciting," said Clark. "There's a time and place for everything," said Miss Inkydink. "And sometimes the rule is stay cool." What do you think that means? Does she mean like don't get hot? Or do you think stay cool means like you got to chill out and calm down? Look at those illustrations. Wow, look at Clark. Oh my goodness. I think this must be lunchtime. Look at all that food flying around. Well, it must be recess too, because I see him up here swinging. At recess, Clark tried to stay cool, but he pushed the swing with too much zing. "Sorry," said Clark. "I forgot. Yikes," cried Joey Mackerel. Well, at lunch, Clark tried to stay cool, but everything smelled so good that he munched a bunch of lunches. "Sorry," said Clark. "I forgot." "We're starving," said his friends. Look at the word starving. Why do you think it's on all capitals? Because the author wants you to know that they're really hungry and they're yelling it. "We're starving!" Look on the next page, on page 23. In class, Clark tried to stay cool, but a good book got him all shook up. "Now, Clark," said Miss Inkydink, "this isn't the time or the place. Tell me, what is the rule?" "Stay cool," said Clark. "Hey, that rhymes," he cried. Well, I don't think he's actually crying. I think that just means that's what he said. Then Clark got a big idea in his sharky head. Maybe if I make a rhyme, I'll remember every time, he thought. The next day, he put his plan to work. He's going to make a rhyme. So far, so good. Everybody looks happy on page 24 and 25. In class, when lessons got exciting, Clark wanted to bounce up out of his seat. Let's click on what bounce means. When you bounce, you move up and down. I like to bounce my ball outside. Well, I don't think Clark is bouncing a ball, but he's bouncing up and down in his seat, which is inappropriate behavior for a classroom, right? So instead of it, he told himself, when the teacher's talking, don't go walking. And what do you know? It worked. "Attaboy, Clark," said Miss Inky-Dink. Clark smiled. Lessons are fun. Look at his classmates. Everybody seems happy that Clark is staying cool in school. Well, at lunchtime, everything smelled so yummy, and when Clark wanted to eat and never stop, he told himself, only munch your lunch. And it worked. "Way to go, Clark," said his friends. Clark grinned. Lunch is fun. What do you think grinned means? If you grinned, you smiled a wide smile. So the word grin and the word smile are synonymous. They're synonyms. They're words that mean the same. All of his friends seemed very happy. The setting of this particular picture is in the cafeteria. Okay, they must be outside for recess or playtime. They're on the seesaws. Everyone looks happy, so it must be going good. Clark must be remembering to stay cool. At playtime, Clark told himself, easy does it. That's the way. Then my friends will let me play. That's his rhyme. And playtime was fun. Once more, Clark loved his life. But then a shadow fell across the playground. A ginormous shadow with tentacles galore. "It's a new kid, and he looks scary," cried Joey Mackerel. "Swim for your lives!" The squid squashed the slide, and it snapped off the swings. "Oops, my bad," said the new kid. Oh, goodness, he must be big. Really big. I bet that's what ginormous means. And he has tentacles galore. Galore, I think, must mean a lot, because look at those tentacles. He has a lot of them. And he's definitely big because this is the schoolhouse or the ship that they're in. Look at Clark's face. "Wait," said Clark. He just wants to play. Let's find a way." So Clark is going to figure out a way for him to play. And he swam at the new kid with all of his might. Doing something with all your might is using all of your power to do it. So with all of his power, he swam at the new kid. Clark played harder than he ever had before. Upsy, downsy, and spin-em-a-jig. Why, he even made up a new game. Tell Wumpa Lumpus. Yay for Clark! He can finally play hard. You know, he couldn't play hard with the other boys and girls because they were much smaller. But this new kid is ginormous. So finally, Clark has somebody to play with that he can play with a little bit harder and it won't upset him or hurt him. "Wow, that was fun," said the new kid breathlessly, and he settled down. "If you want to come to school, you've got to stay cool," said Clark. So he's trying to help out the new kid in trying to understand how to calm down. "That's right, Clark," said Miss Inky-Dink, "and thanks for taking care of our new classmate, Sid the Squid." "Hooray for Clark the Shark," everyone cheered. Wow, Clark is really being a good citizen in his classroom community and being kind and helpful and showing Sid the Squid how to stay cool but yet still enjoy school. That night, Clark's mother asked, "What did you learn at school, dear?" "Well, there's a time and a place for everything," Clark said. "Sometimes you stay cool." He looks very happy. I think he had a successful first day at school. That must be Clark's mother. Must be his little brother. He must not be in school yet, or else he would have gotten on the school bus and went to school with Clark. But sometimes a shark's gotta do what a shark's gotta do. Well, well, well. What do you think that means? A shark's gotta do what a shark's gotta do. I've heard somebody say a baby's gotta do what a baby's gotta do. Well, what do you think it means?